Good morning and welcome to today's Advanced Manufacturing panel coming out of Delaware County. We appreciate you for listening live, and we are recording this event for students to view in the future. I will now turn it over to our moderator of the day, who is Josh Shimak, an NICC success coach. Thank you.
So why don't we go ahead and get started, and we'll just kind of snake it left to right and go from there. So with that said, Corey, would you mind introducing yourself, your name, company you work for, the role in the company and whatnot?
I'm Corey Hood. I'm a weld supervisor at XL Specialized Trailers. Started back in 2010 as a welder, kind of worked my way up into supervisor, first shift supervisor, been here 10 years.
Awesome. It's good longevity. Yep. Tim, do you mind introducing yourself and the good things you do with Paladin?
Absolutely. I'm Tim Geyer. I'm the HR manager with Paladin Attachments. We're part of Stanley Black & Decker's infrastructure division. We have a large facility in Delhi and a smaller but growing, expanding facility in Manchester. Been with the company coming up on 7 years now and handle all things human resources.
Awesome. Thank you. Thomas. How about
Hi, my name's Thomas Kenny. I'm with Henderson Products. I'm a weld engineer. I've been with Henderson for about five years now, supporting the welding operations, end of it.
So Thomas, what got you interested in welding and in Henderson Products?
As far as what got me into welding, it's just been, a part of my life since I was young. I think the first arc I struck was between 4th and 5th grade on the farm. And I just really love metalworking. Something else that I really enjoy is winter. And a lot of people think I'm nuts, but that's where when I found Henderson, it was the perfect fit because that's what we do is the snow removal, equipment.
Did you say 4th and 5th grade?
Yeah. I'd say I was, my grandpa had taught me on a stick welder. And then that first summer that he started teaching me to weld, we had a front end steering brake on one of the tractors and I had to weld it together because everybody else was out in the field.
Oh, wow. What a responsibility and a great grandpa to show you the way. That's awesome. Thank you. It looks like Micah joined us while you were talking from Stryten Manufacturing. Micah, can you hear us?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is my first time on a Zoom meeting, so I guess the whole world's been doing that. My kids can tell me how to do it, so I suppose I had a first time here. So
hey, welcome to the club.
Thanks.
Micah, do you mind maybe just starting out? We were just doing introductions right as you were logging in with your role in your company and what you guys do.
All right. My name is Micah Berger. I'm the operations manager at Stryten Manufacturing. We make automotive batteries. Primarily here in Manchester, we do like your group 31s, your heavy diesel batteries. We do some larger, like really large 4D, 8D batteries that are more for bulldozers and we make some tank batteries too for the military, things like that. So that's, and I run the operations. So as far as operators and whatnot.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yep.
We'll definitely get back to you soon. Thanks, Micah.
Yep.
Tim, what would you say the educational journey was for you, or for maybe some of your employees? What's a typical entry-level educational journey? Let's start with you and then go to your staff. And I know that you're in charge of quite a variety of people and whatnot, but
Right on. So for myself, I took a long, strange trip. I got my undergraduate degree at Warburg. I knew that I wanted to go to law school during that entire time. Went to Drake, graduated from law school, passed the bar, but knew that I didn't want to be a lawyer in the traditional sense. I really enjoyed labor and employment law. So that was the wild journey for me. That's not necessary in my position, although it is very helpful. any number of educational routes will work for someone who wants to be an HR manager. There are business administration degrees, there's other assorted people and public relations degrees, wide variety of opportunities available for somebody who wants to get into that field. As far as here at the plant, you nailed it. We have positions that don't even require a high school diploma, all the way up to I have folks that have their masters in business administration, their MBAs, and everything in between. It's one of the greatest things I've noticed in the last few years, that we're starting to shift that mindset that it always takes a college degree to be successful in life. That's absolutely not true. It takes hard work and desire. It takes somebody with a little bit of willingness to try something that maybe pushes them out of their comfort zone. And you can have massively successful people. Typically in our society anymore, it does take something post high school to really progress. But thankfully, I think that misconception that it always takes a 4-year degree is fading out in our society anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that, you know, in my own experience, you know, it was 4-year or bust. It seemed like that was kind of the messaging I was getting. Yeah, I do think that's changing. So thanks for that. Hey, Corey, kind of along the lines of education and training and whatnot, can you think of a class or an activity that maybe you participated with in middle school and high school that impacted you, or something you thought, I'm never going to use this, but you use it more often than you thought at the time?
One of the things I did, we actually have a welding class here at West Delaware where I went to in Manchester. It was a great welding class that I did there. It wasn't quite as advanced as it is now. As far as something that I'd never really use, I was one of the ones in the math, you know, the fraction stuff like that, but it's a common thing here in the weld field. So
Yeah, for sure, that precision and the need to be accurate with what you're doing. For sure.
Right.
For sure. Thank you. Thomas, let's go back to you, if we will. And I know Tim kind of touched on a little bit of soft skills and, you know, some of those intangible things, but what personality traits would you say work well for your career and your industry?
One of the best things is just somebody who's willing to adapt. Every day we're given challenges, and having the personality to where you adapt well, you don't get frustrated. That's probably one of the biggest things that I can think of, you know, that helps. Just trying to learn all those personalities as well, and how you work with them so you don't offend anyone.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, and when those things come up, you know, when those disagreements come up, how do we handle them? You know, who do we talk to? And yeah, those are all important things to think about, for sure. Hey, Micah, thank you. Micah, you talked about this is your first Zoom meeting. So along the lines of technology, what technology do you guys use? Or should your new employees expect to learn about or have experience with in terms of machinery and things like that?
Well, it depends on the role. You know, obviously our maintenance technicians, we have quite a bit of automation, various robotics, PLC controlled equipment, an understanding of really not just electrical components, but it doesn't matter what it is, whether it be electrical, hydraulic, pneumatic, mechanical, you know, your power transmission from, you know, you're understanding, you know, the mechanical aspects of what it is that makes a machine go around. So you need to be well versed in that. You have to have at least as far as the maintenance piece, you need to be well-rounded in that regard. There's a lot of different hats that the individual must wear. I've had guys that I've interviewed before that say, you know, I'm not an electrical guy, and I have to remind them that, and that's good. It's good that you're claiming you have a mechanical piece, but you can't box yourself in to just one. It's good to have a strength, but it tells me pretty quickly that they box themselves into not adapting and learning the new skills required to that is automation. As far as our operators go, there's some basics that I think are some basic skills that I think are fading, and I don't know if it's a generational thing or I think I heard some folks mention the welding classes that they've taken in high school and how influential that was. It really would be nice if there was a way to inspire whether, I don't care if it's woodworking, something that requires producing something with their hands, so they understand the basic use of hand tools, whether it be wrenches, hammers, measuring tapes, calipers, you name it. Those are more requirements that we have for our operators, some on the basic levels, but just understanding, to be able to watch a process and kind of break it down, and at least in their understanding of, hey, this goes in, this and what the sequence is that drives it to the desired output, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It gets me thinking about, the difference between, consuming and actually producing something, and knowing, what it took, and the pride and the ownership that comes with that.
And the pride piece is something I was talking to one of my maintenance guys about just the other day. And I'm new to Iowa, so I'm glad to be here. I've been here a little over a year now. One of the things I really appreciate about Iowa is the common work ethic that I've seen with the people that I have the pleasure to work with here. I don't know who, those of you that have taken, talk about, your 4-year degrees and whatnot. One of the classes that I took that really stood out for me was my macroeconomics class. And that one of the statements that was made there was that for every manufacturing job that is created, you have, I think it was 7 additional jobs created as a result of that. And it's really the whole trickle down economics piece, but it's the teachers that teach the children of the people that are in those facilities. It's the police officers. It's the people that work at the convenience stores. The list goes, that the doctors, the list goes on and on. We're actually converting a natural resource into something that has value. And the same goes for, going back to the Iowa piece, I see farming and manufacturing as being the backbone of our economy. And that's something to be proud of. And I would love for young people to understand that, what we do in manufacturing is awesome. It has a positive impact on the world that we live in. I mean, with the whole, with this pandemic, I think that's been a prime example of where some of our weaknesses lie as a country, with our abilities to bring in PPE and things like that in manufacturing. And if anything comes out of this, that might be a positive. Get some more jobs back into our country here in Iowa. On that note, and I won't rant for too long, so I apologize to those of you that are listening. It used to be back in the day, somebody with just a high school education or maybe less could start work in a manufacturing facility and put their kids through, give them a quality education, a good life, and retire. And that's, to me, that's great. I would love to see that come back to, I love that I work for a place that allows for that. We have a lot of folks that have been here a long time, and I'd love to see more of that. So, I'm done talking.
No, hey, well worth a listen. No, you bring up a lot of good points. So I appreciate it. Tim, let's move back over to you. Do you mind maybe speaking and touching on, one thing we haven't spent much time on so far is, work environment, schedules, hours, indoor, outdoor, that type of thing. With Paladin specifically, maybe what should someone expect who joins your company in terms of work life?
Well, a recurring theme here, I think it'll be all of the above. Most of our work is inside at the facilities. Occasionally folks are going outside for storage of completed product or bringing in parts, but for the most part, it's inside work. We have first shift positions, second shift positions, and third shift positions. So, and even within those shifts, you have variations of who comes in when, depending on what jobs they do as it relates to the rest of the manufacturing process. Because you might need these 5 people to get in at 4 o'clock in the morning so that they can be sure to have parts that are set up for the people coming in at 5 o'clock in the morning, so that they can have equipment done for the people that are working with shipping at 7 o'clock in the morning, or whatever the case may be. And that goes through the afternoon, and then a very small group in the evening. But as we grow and continue to expand, there will be more need for folks on those afternoon and evening shifts.
No, thank you. And, you know, when you were bringing up the point about, you know, the 4 or 5 folks that come in the morning, you know, how you may not be able to see it right then and there, but how it's all related to the other teams within the company.
Absolutely.
And how it all works. So appreciate that.
They're all interrelated, you bet.
Corey, can I ask you the same question with XL specialized trailers?
Yeah, we are mostly inside, kind of a lot like Paladin. We do go outside to get the stuff we need. We do have a first and second shift. The same concept there. We have people coming in at 4 o'clock, getting the day ready, getting everything set up for the people that come in at 5. And then from there, the shipping and receiving, everything kind of goes hand in hand that way too.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. Can I ask you while I have you here too, what's the best part of your job?
The best part of my job, I would say, is probably just the day-to-day scheduling and shifting. I like the on the move, making moves as things happen, as things flow from fabrication to weld, to paint, to final. Just seeing all the process come together makes it pretty interesting.
Oh, that's awesome, that variety and whatnot. You touched on, and I know you're not the only one who touched on the multiple shifts and whatnot. Should someone expect to receive different wages based on their particular time of day that they're coming in and working?
With XL, we do have a second shift premium for the people that do work on that shift.
Awesome. Thank you. Tom, let's come back to you. Can I ask you the same question that I asked Tim and Corey about, you know, work environment, work culture, hours, things like that, just to put a bow on that?
It's very similar where we have first and second shifts, weekend as well. As far as work environment, we work primarily inside. Our material handlers will run, you know, our finished product out for storage. The semis come in, you know, and that's where the raw product comes in. Yeah, and then as far as we do have a second shift premium as well as weekend.
Thank you. So I'm just noticing your background. You guys have some good backgrounds here today. The star. Yeah. Anyway, Micah, can we come back to you? And I don't want to leave you out because you're the only person I didn't ask this question to, just to see if there's any variance, I guess, with Stryten in terms of what a new employee might expect and the opportunities they might have.
As far as what opportunities they have?
As far as, you know, foot in the door, shifts.
Well, typically the shifts are going to be, you know, we're a 3-shift operation, 5 days a week. We're working a lot of 6 days, so we're getting some overtime in that regard. So they would have the opportunity to make some more money in, you know, time and a half on the weekends. As far as shift differential goes, there is a shift differential for second and third shift. Yeah, so that they have that piece. It is indoors. Obviously, we make batteries. We don't want to be making those outside. There's some environmental concerns in that regard.
What's the hardest part of your day, Micah? Or
the hardest part of my day? You know, I don't know. It's I really don't look at it in that regard. It's everything seems to provide opportunities. It's, you know, I would say managing. You know, we have a lot of, you know, with the whole COVID thing, we have a lot of folks that are, you know, whether they have it or were exposed to somebody, or maybe they have a symptom that might be considered on the list of, we have maintaining that, balancing, having all the right people in the right spots. And that's probably the most challenging is, there's a lot of moving parts to making, to manufacturing in general, and having the right people in the right positions is critical. And we have people call out, they're like, hey, I was at a football game. I think I was exposed. So then we have to, it requires other people to work overtime. It's constantly changing. So that's probably the most challenging piece is having the right people in the right place at the right time.
Right. You're balancing, the safety of your employees with expectations and deadlines customers have.
Yep. It's very challenging. Yep.
And, earlier you were making the point about how COVID, just to stay with COVID for another moment, how it kind of maybe, I don't know if exposed is the right word, but, it showed us that, maybe we weren't ready to handle a situation like this, maybe as we would have in years past, like you touched on. So how do we get back to that point, in your opinion, Micah, before we move on to our next panelist? Just curious.
How do we get back to where we were?
How do we get back to where we were with the economy that we had at that time, I guess, and the excitement around it, and for advanced manufacturing?
Well, I think that there's, once again, I think that there's been there's that question might expose some political leanings in that regard. So I don't want to go down that path too much. Maybe that's a conversation for a different time. But I mean, really us not knowing. I mean, I guess just having a clear protocol in how it is that we are to handle these cases, what our staffing models look like, because there's just so much that is unpredictable as far as how, whether it surges, whether the virus surges as far as the infection rates, how we should, because it's changed so many times since the beginning of this, as far as, whether you wear a mask, whether you don't wear a mask, how long do you send a person home for? And it's to get us on the other side of that, it's going to require, obviously, whether or not we can detect whether somebody does in fact have it, at which point we're in the clear. It's going to require that we be in the clear on that side, whether that's, after November 3rd or whether that's the end of next summer. It's really hard to say. I definitely want it to go away. I'll be glad when I can go talk to my employees face to face without wearing the mask. But for now we're humming along and just riding the wave. So maybe that's the lesson. Maybe the lesson is that it's really not in our control, and how we adapt to long-term strategies versus short-term. We can plan long-term, but as you guys in manufacturing know, there's a whirlwind that we face every day. And if you make these, the further out you make your plans, the less you're really wasting. The amount of detail wasted on that is unfortunate, because things happen at a pace that we are not able to adapt to. And I mentioned staffing models. How do you staff for that? Well, if we staffed up with the assumption that we're going to lose a certain percentage because of this, what happens when the problem goes away? Now you're looking at laying people off, and it's like you don't want to find yourself in that scenario either. So we're forced to work some overtime, which is good and bad. So I kind of bounced around a little bit on that, but it is on the other side of this, it's there's a history lesson in this. Unfortunately we don't have too many people alive that were around during the swine flu or the pandemic of 1918. So they say 1.5 years to 2 years for this. So there's some biological things that need to take place. So that's my spin. That's Micah's spin.
No, Mike, I think that there's going to be a lot that we learn from this that maybe we can't see right now in the middle of it. And when I asked you the question about hardest part of your job, you kind of reframed it into an opportunity and more of a challenge, and how it can be a good thing. So I agree with what you're saying, and hopefully we can reach that point in the future where this is something we're talking about from the past. So
we will. I'm certain of that.
Tim, I want to come back to you, if I may. you know, these high school students that will be listening to this panel and this presentation, they may wonder, you know, what is the job outlook? You know, how far away from home may I have to go, you know, from Delaware County? Can I stay right here? Obviously, you guys are representing, you know, our region and whatnot, but what does the outlook look like for your company as someone who works with employees and HR?
I think that's a fantastic question, and it's very timely for all of us. How far out are these folks going to have to go to get jobs? Not very far. Actually, we've struggled for the last how many years where people think they have to move away. They absolutely do not. Northeast Iowa is thriving. We have more jobs than we have people. We have for years. Every single one on this panel can tell you we could use more people. You know, there may be individual segments of time where we don't, but if you look at the overall picture, we always need more people. Every one of these businesses are owned by more large organizations that have said, we like these Northeast Iowa factories. We like what comes out of them. We like the profit that comes out of them, and we want more. We want more to go into Stryten at manufacture, more to go into Henderson's, more to go into Excel, more to go into Paladin. We gotta have people to do those things. So the absolute answer is, how far do I need to go away? Probably down the block is the answer. It's where we've got to get people that are maybe thinking outside the box. You know, maybe they didn't think about, well, geez, I've never worked in a factory before. Everybody on this panel will tell you, they'll take you in and train you. If you're that good employee with that good attitude, sometimes they'd actually like to have you with no experience because you don't bring your bad habits. They want to train you the right way. So it's really more of taking people thinking outside the box of what they want to do, because there's jobs in Northeast Iowa every single day listed.
No, great points. I just want to follow up. You touched on, you know, folks who maybe are hesitant to enter into factory work because they don't have, you know, prior skills or experience. And you're saying, hey, that's not a bad thing. You know, that way we're not breaking bad habits. We can teach you the way we want it to be. Are there any other myths or misconceptions about factory work that you would like to set the record straight?
We don't have near enough time, but yes, there are myths. Part of it is, and this I can tell you was in my generation a zillion years ago, was that, oh my goodness, you got to get that 4-year degree because you don't want to spend your life breaking your back in a factory. And maybe that was true at the time. I guess I don't know. Factories today are getting safer and safer and safer every day. If they didn't know it before, companies now understand that even if you don't care about the safety perspective because you're just a good person and you care about your coworkers, there's money attached to safety. It is much safer and much cheaper to be safe, is what I should have said, much cheaper to be safe. Hurting your coworkers costs a lot of money, and it's horrible on morale, and it tears a place apart. Every organization you see here strives to have nobody ever get hurt. Does every single one of us work with folks who work real hard physically every day? You darn right we do. I don't want to sound like everybody sits, you know, driving a desk chair like I do for a lot of the day. There are folks that work hard, but they're in way better shape than I am, and they're a lot stronger than I am. But it's not that same old, you know, that stereotype of the back-breaking, death-defying work. That doesn't, well, as far as I know, I guarantee you at none of these 4 sites does that stuff occur anymore.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Corey, I have a question specific to welding. I was working with a student the other day, and he was really interested in welding, but was weighing it against another option, and discussed, had a fear of vision loss and vision acuity in the future and stuff like that. Can you talk about the safety equipment that's in place and maybe the reality of what someone could expect?
As far as the safety part of it, with the welding shields and everything, obviously protects you against the light. I mean, there are some risk factors of getting flash burn and stuff like that, but as long as you're wearing your protective equipment, looking away from it when you're tacking, stuff like that, vision loss really typically isn't a big concern. So as long as you're being safe, you should be fine.
Right. And I think you bring up a good point that, you know, there are risks in any career, you know, no matter if you're in a factory, in an office, driving a truck or what it might be. So I appreciate that. Let's start with you, Corey. I've kind of, you know, discussed the things that are on my mind and on my list that I wanted to ask you guys, that I wanted to touch on. But let's start with you, Corey. You have a captive audience that'll be listening to this presentation. You know, what would you want to tell them about, you know, your company and about, you know, welding and just advanced manufacturing? What would your pitch be?
As far as Excel goes, it's a great company to work for. We're very flexible, good hours, good pay. We treat our employees pretty well here, good health benefits, stuff like that. We work well with family anytime you guys need anything. Like I said, we're more than flexible that way. Basically, if you come in with a good attitude, you're willing to learn, willing to participate, them are the key things to get in here. Be willing to put in the time, the effort, you'll go a long ways in this company.
Awesome. Thanks, Corey. Tom, the same question for you with Henderson Products, if I may, and just your thoughts on the whole overall discussion today about advanced manufacturing and the youth.
Well, it's definitely a very good one. You know, for at Henderson's, you know, we go and utilize something called pulse welding. Not a lot of companies do. There's companies that are open to change. You know, once they see it, they start using that. We go and use that because we do a lot of stainless steel welding. It really helps us control our spatter and our heat input. But as far as, you know, why somebody would want to come to Henderson, you know, there's a lot of great companies around here. A lot of them on this Zoom call, you know, they're all good companies. The biggest thing is do your research, look for the company that best matches you, because you don't want to just start at some place just because of whatever the pay may be. You want to go and start at a place that produces product that makes you happy. You know, if you like building trailers, then go to Excel. If you like, you know, working with skid loaders, go over to Paladin. If you like doing snow removal, like if you like seeing the product going down the road during the winter, and you know that's kind of our product that's saving the day, then come to Henderson. You know, that's just pick what makes you happy. Do your research, you know, in it up front. Don't just jump on board.
Awesome. Great answer. Thanks.
And all of those products use batteries, so that ties Mikey in.
Exactly.
Micah, anything that hasn't been said on this call that you would want a 14, 15, 16, 18-year-old student to hear about who might be interested in using their hands and joining one of your companies?
Well, I would reiterate the fact that manufacturing is something to be proud of. That you should be proud of making something useful. That's really it. It's really awesome what we do. You know, we do. It's really cool. It's a cool thing that we do. We are. Yeah, just remember that. Remember that it's nothing. There's been times when, you know, like I'm sorry. Tim was talking about back in the olden days with as far as you don't want to work in manufacturing. Actually, I would argue that manufacturing, it's good, solid future. I know with the companies I see here, I don't see the demand for any one of these products going away. So stability is very important. Knowing that the job that you're doing is going to be here 10, 15, 20 years from now should give you peace of mind. Lead acid batteries are not going anywhere. I don't imagine snow plows are going anywhere or anything like that. It's all here to stay. So if you want to invest your time in learning these skills, we're willing to teach you. So that'd be my spiel.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it. Good final words to end on from you, Micah. Thank you. Tim, I'm going to give you the last word.
Well, first of all, Josh, I want to thank you for putting this together, and for all the future students that are watching this. Take all of this stuff to heart. Maybe you've never thought about manufacturing, or golly, you just didn't know which way to go. I think you've gotten a lot of terrific advice here. All of us have great jobs available. The other thing too, and I've made this pitch for years, don't limit yourself where you apply. Banks need maintenance people. Factories need accountants. Janitors are needed at fast food restaurants. Everybody needs everything. Hospitals need every position. Keep your options open, because every single facility has jobs that you probably didn't think about, and it would really benefit you to get in touch with somebody that works there and have your eyes opened of, wow, there's unlimited opportunities at all these different places.
Great. Yeah, great thought. I just want to, before I turn it back over to Stephanie, I want to thank you guys for letting me put you on the hot seat and for having a short chat with me today. So, Stephanie.
Yes, well, I'm just going to echo what Josh said. We appreciate your time. We know that this video is going to be watched by many students in the future here. And if they have any questions that come my way or Holly Maurer's way, we will definitely make sure that we get them passed on to you guys, as we have all your email addresses. So thank you, and have a good weekend.